Ghost Cult Magazine welcomes in our old friend, Dino Cazares of Fear Factory. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm over here in sunny California. It's a beautiful day and I'm talking to you.
Right on, right on. I appreciate you doing the whirlwind press, no doubt, for this upcoming amazing Fear Factory record. Finally, it seems like we've been talking about this thing forever, and Aggression Continuum is here, almost. And, first things first, I just want to kind of open things up here, which is you've been the flag bearer for this band for the whole, your whole career has been this band. You got other projects we love and support. We can talk about some of those, but it's tough when you're the guy. It's tough for anybody when you're the guy. You've always been the focal point, and you've always been very who you are. You're very frank. You're who you are on social media. I've met you in real life. You are who you are all the time. It's not like an act. Today I'm going to be Dino. No, you're Dino all the time. You are who you've been. And I think a lot of my peers in the media, and hopefully not Ghost Cult, because we really have tried to be fair to everybody. I feel like a lot of people have painted you incorrectly, just your persona and how you are and whatever. You've been put in an unenviable position where you have to defend yourself sometimes, or explain things for people, or over-explain things for fans who cannot get enough of you. So I wanted to kind of start there. If you think you've been kind of, maybe unfairly treated by the media.
Yeah, I mean, since the day one of my career, I felt that I've had to defend myself. I mean, going way back to when Souvenir Machine, when the first record came out, a lot of the UK press, pretty much were pretty racist towards me, because maybe I was one of the first Mexicans they've ever seen. I don't know what it is, but they were, I've always felt like I've had to defend myself. And that's okay. I mean, it's just what it is in the media. Now that it's gone to where, everybody has an opinion, everybody has social media, everybody's addicted to their iOS devices and their social media accounts. Yeah, a lot of people want to, answer questions, want their questions answered, right? And they want to know all the information right away. And then they keep asking more and more questions. It's kind of hard to answer everybody, but I do go out there and I try to do as best as I can to, try to help a fan out to what they need to try to understand. Sure, I've been vilified many, many a times. But I guess I just accepted it. You know what I mean? And, I've been fucked over many, many times, right? But for some reason, I don't know why, I always seem like I am the one that gets vilified in those situations. But maybe it's because I'm the one that can handle it. Maybe it's because I don't look like a victim. Even though I am a victim, well, I don't play a victim, and that's one of the things that a lot of times I get vilified from ex band members. Who leave the band, or who quit the band, or get kicked out of the band, whatever. It's always my fault, and that's okay. So everybody needs a scapegoat, and I seem to be that guy.
Not to mention my favorite Fear Factory song, but anyway,
That's actually, the song was written after me, believe it or not.
Right? Yeah, of course, and I know, and it's just tough. I think, like I said, you've done a fantastic job. I think also because, again, as I said, you are the guy, and now the sole owner 100% of the Fear Factory brand, which is good for you, actually. I think after all this time,
but
it is.
But just because I have the ownership now, didn't change my position.
No,
it's the same. It's the same. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, of course. What I was saying is, I think now that we're kind of hopefully past some of the drama in your life, and now we can focus on the music, and we're getting this music and these great visualizers and videos, and we can actually talk about Fear Factory music instead of the Fear Factory music business.
Yeah. Well, for sure. I mean, now that I have full control on this record, I wanted to go full steam ahead. I wanted to add a killer video and killer visualizers, and now with the third single coming out called Recode, we're going to be able to do part 2 to Disruptor video, which is going to be sick. And I can't wait because the storyline is going to continue. People have asked me, hey man, why don't you make a Fear Factory movie? People have been asking us that for a long time, but it seems to be getting nearer and nearer that people are seeing this post-apocalyptic world that we're creating in the video, people are saying, hey man, why don't you just make a whole movie out of that? And trust me, if I had the money, I would, you know what I mean? I'm not sure if I want to start another GoFundMe campaign for that, because I don't want someone to accuse me of doing something differently with it. But
I'm rolling my eyes, everybody.
yeah.
I feel like the Wachowskis missed an opportunity to connect with you guys and do some kind of crossover. We're getting more Matrix movies. Maybe they can still reach out if the sound of this interview reaches them, or the sound of this incredible album reaches them. And it really is kind of, I want to really talk about the music. You had said for a long time, I want to make the best possible Fear Factory record, which of course you always do. And it really has like all the flavors from if you love this band, it has a little bit of everything from your whole career. And I really appreciate it as a fan.
Thank you. I mean, that's pretty much what I set out to do. You know, I always try to one up each record. Now, when we started the record in late 2016, early 2017, I wrote all the music, got it all set up. You know, I had some different keyboard players come in to collaborate with me, and that added some of the dynamics and the nuance to the record, right? With all these different keyboards. But the record sat there for 3+ years because of the legalities that were preventing us from using the name Fear Factory. So we did a version of the record, turned it in 2017. And because it sat so long, I'm like, you know what? Unfortunately, I was going through some trial stuff, so I couldn't have access to the record. I couldn't have access to anything. I just had to sit there and wait. So once I was able to regain control, I was like, okay, I'm going to make some much needed improvements on this record. Sure, I would have liked Burt to come in and do some of his vocals. Sure, fuck yeah, you know, because we were in a different place when we were starting making the record. We were in the height of the legal shit that we were going through. You know, our minds were in other places. You know what I mean? But we still managed to fucking make a sick record, because I think sometimes, you know, tension and stress sometimes add to a record, right? So fast forward to 2020, when I got control, I was like, okay, we need to add some elements to the record that were missing. One of them was drums. We added the live drums to the record because previously it was just drum programming, and we had done that on one of our old records, The Industrialist, and we pretty much got canceled by our fans on that record because everybody was not having the drum machine. Ironically, that's what it was. But anyways, so I was like, okay, I don't want that to happen again. Let's add the live drums, and the live drums definitely added more of the dynamics that I think that was missing from the record, right? So I also wanted to get Andy Sneap to mix the album, because he mixed it Genexus, and he did such a great job on those tones and that mix that I wanted him to bring him back into the record. Then I wanted to hire Damien Rainaud, who was a producer, to put it all together and to get this prepared for Andy Sneap to mix. So I also wanted to get Rhys Fulber back on the record, because what's a record without Rhys Fulber? You know, what's a Fear Factory record? You know what a Fear Factory record is without Rhys Fulber? Is Transgression. That's a Fear Factory record. So I was like, I want to get Rhys back on the record. Unfortunately, he was working on a lot of stuff, his solo career. So I was only able to get him for a couple of songs, but still, I wanted just to get him on any capacity that I could, right? So all this cost money. So unfortunately, because of all the legal shit that we were going through, me personally, I used up all my finances. I used up everything, all my savings. As a matter of fact, I even had to go file for bankruptcy. You know what I mean? Because I had absolutely no money. The record company, we used up all the money that we could use for the previous production from the record company. So they weren't really giving us any more money, but they said, look, we're going to give you permission to do whatever you need to do on this new version, but unfortunately, you're going to have to finance it yourself. And so I was like, okay. So I decided to reach out on social media, and a lot of the fans said, hey, why don't you start a GoFundMe campaign? So that's what I did. Started the GoFundMe campaign. Regardless of all the drama that was surrounding that campaign, you know, we still managed to reach our goal, and we still managed to get the money to actually pay Andy, pay Mike Heller, pay Damien Rainaud, and pay Rhys to get this record done. That was exactly what we were trying to do. And unfortunately, it's just a GoFundMe campaign we had to jump through major hurdles just to get it. I had to fight for that. You know what I mean? I had to defend myself on that because, you know, unfortunately, Burton went out there and said that the GoFundMe campaign was a scam. You know, obviously he was trying to hurt it, and he was trying to, you know, again, vilify me. You know what I mean? And so, but luckily we made it through. We fucking did everything exactly we said we were going to do. Boom. And then now you have the record, and just listen to this, listen to the quality of this record. It's amazing.
Word. I cannot wait for people to hear it because I have been bugging out listening to it and enjoying it so much, and in the best possible way. And when I'm not doing Ghost Call, I work in marketing and social media, and I understand crowdfunding, and a lot of bands have done it wrong or cheated the fans, or like Pledge Music went out of business and jerked a lot of people, bands and fans. So I understand the mistrust, but you obviously, you know, you were very transparent the whole way. I'm so glad when people hear this record, they're going to really appreciate Rhys, and they're going to hear Heller on there, who's a beast, dude. I love Heller. I love Malignancy. And Igor is on here also. I don't know if the GoFundMe helped pay for his work, but he from Yes, he's wonderful. He's a fantastic world class keyboard player. There's all kinds of extra musical stuff on here that you expect from a Fear Factory record. It has it. If you know, like this almost could have been the record right after Digimortal, or even after Obsolete. To me, this is that good of a record, and we'll talk a little bit. I have a Digimortal question for you later, because
I think every record has its place in time, and I think every record also represents, you know, where the band was at that time. You know what I mean? From the beginning of Soul in the Machine, Fears of Mind Killer is very, very important record. It's a small little EP, but it's a very, very important EP, because without that record, we wouldn't see the vision for Demanufacture. You know what I mean? And then Obsolete is where the band grew. We got a lot of experience touring around the world. And we were able to make a very well-rounded, a fucking amazing classic record, you know? And then Digimortal was kind of more the sign of the times of where music was at the time. You know what I mean? And then when I was out of the band for a few years, I released 5 records. They released 2 records. I released 5 records. To me, I was very happy being out of Fear. Well, in the beginning, I wasn't happy. I was pissed off, right? That they started the band without me. And it was like, it took me about a few months, I would say almost 6 months, before I got out of my house and fucking just started working, right? 2 Assassino records, 1 Rotor and Ralsa records, and 2 Divine Heresy records in the time I was at Fear Factory. And those dudes released 2 records. So I was busy. I was very happy of the freedom. But when I came back to Fear Factory, I was like, okay, here I am. I need to prove myself again. I love it. I love the challenge. Bring it on. So I was like, you know what? I got Gene Hogan right here, and I'm going to fucking write a sick fucking record. And Mechanized came out. It was fucking a badass record. It was a statement. I was like, Dino's back. Talking to the third person. Dino's back, and this fucking record's heavy. And that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Right on. And I see that thread in this record also. So many good riffs. People who love your guitar style or have ripped you off. Many bands have copied and imitated, but there's only one. The riffs are immense. People are going to be breaking their hands trying to learn this shit, dude.
I know there was some guys like learning Fuel Injected Suicide Machine, and they had to record the video in parts, because it was it's definitely a wrist challenge. You know what I mean? It's really about endurance.
Word. In addition to the singles, and I'm stoked to hear that Recode is going to be a single. Collapse, Cognitive Dissonance. These are amazing songs. End of the Line is epic to close the record, and Fear Factory records always end on a very strong, go out strong. I often say that I feel like in the streaming age, sequencing is kind of out of fashion now, but for whether it's a concept record or not, a Fear Factory record always feels like it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, like very well thought out and planned out.
Well, for sure, always. In the sequence of the album, I love to sequence the album, like, where it starts off very dramatic, and then it goes this intense, epic song, and then it keeps building and building and building, and then somewhere it kind of crescendos a little bit with songs like Purity, right? and then it starts coming back with Fuel Injected, Manufactured Hope, Cognitive Dissonance. Then it kind of crescendos again into Monolith, and then the beautiful, song at the end of line, and then the nice little outro with a nice little spoken word outro with the Fear is the Mind Killer speech, right? Yeah, that's how I pretty much been doing it since Demanufactured, because when we did Soul of a New Machine, our first record, we put 17 songs on the record, and that's cool, but we need to concentrate on the 10 to 11 best songs. 17 songs was a lot. That was cool for our first record, and it was cool for people to get into because they had a lot of material to listen to. But that's enough for 2 records almost, But it wasn't until Demanufactured where I learned, okay, this is how you put a record together. This is how it is. And we nailed it on that record. And I've been pretty much, doing the same thing all the way through all the albums.
Right on. I also feel like back in the day, maybe there was, I don't know if this is the case or not. I should ask Monty Connor if I see him next, but I always feel like Roadrunner, with their expectations about digipacks and re-releases and stuff like that, they always wanted more content from you guys. Can you do a cover? Can you do a remix? That's how we got Cars, initially. So, I always wonder if there was, label chatter, like, hey, you got anything else? We're going to do it again. We're going to put this out again once it hit a sales mark. I bought them all. I love Roadrunner. People know me. I'm from New York City. I rep and I rep all those bands who are New York bands or not. And I love Roadrunner, and I bought every version. I'm that guy. I don't know if you saw the money from every version, but I bought every version.
Well, our deal wasn't exactly that great, so we probably didn't see a lot of the money. But yeah, they always like to put out the special digipack version, right? And they always wanted extra content. And each country sometimes wanted their own song. Like Japan always wanted something different. Australia wanted something different. The US wanted something different. And Europe wanted something different. So we always had to record all these different songs so that way that all these countries could have something different that the other countries didn't have. So yeah, we're very much about that. It's not really that much anymore, but I kind of miss that, But unfortunately on this record, we only finished 10 songs because that's pretty much all Burt wanted to sing, and that was it.
Right on. I gotta say, there's a little bit of sadness in me because he does sound great on this record, and he did a great job. No, but I'm not gonna I don't think any fan of Fear Factory is gonna disparage the job he did here.
No,
and he moved on, and that's all out in the open. So obviously the next thing, I know you've said you're not going to announce the singer. You're going to let this album breathe, come out, hit the world. I know you're going to continue to be awesome on social media and do some more playthroughs and share a lot more stories with fans. But obviously at some point you're going to announce a singer. There's going to be tours. I feel like a Fear Factory tour now is going to be an event because people are going to want to see what the new chapter is like.
Correct. And that's exactly something I'm looking forward to. I'm very excited about it. We definitely are not going to neglect the 30-year career that, Burton left behind, right? Because it's amazing. We've created some amazing music together. It's unfortunate that we can't do it now. Not my decision. That's his decision. And that's what we have to live with, right? So moving forward, I've compiled a group of singers that I think are amazing on paper, but I need to get them here. But due to COVID restrictions, I can't fly anybody here yet. So, because some of these people are out of the country and other states, right? So I have to wait till it all opens up so I can get them out here and get them in a room with us, see what kind of food they like, what kind of beer they drink, just hang out with the persons, and to see how they are, because it really right now it's all about chemistry, how they are going to work with the band. Are they going to be able to handle the social media and the metal media backlash? Are they going to be able to handle filling Burt's shoes and what that entails? Not just, the 30-year career that they have to sing, because they're all talented enough to do that. It's more of like, can they handle being in the spotlight? Can they handle being looked at through a microscope? You're going to be a fish in a fishbowl. All eyes are on you, and they're going to be on a different world stage now, and they're going to have to be able to handle all the criticism that they might be getting. You know what I mean? Which I know they will be, but
Right on.
that's
And
just how it
yeah,
is. That's just how it goes. You know?
of course. And as you said, you got to be able to hang with that person and break bread with that person and be in a tour bus eventually again when those things come back. I miss that stuff so much. And I'm sure you do too. This has probably been, you know, no NAMM, no touring. It's probably been a rough time for you. And I'm sorry if you know, for whatever income you lost or whatever. I really appreciate having this record. I just have a couple more for you, man. In the interest of time, I interviewed Tony a couple of years ago, and I know the Static X tour, he said, you know, super excited about Assassino and new albums with that. And he's planning to tour with you. I know he's got, you know, responsibilities with the Static X tour, but I know the hope is that you guys are gonna be able to hit the road together at some point.
Yes. Yeah. We're definitely hoping that that's going to work out that way. You know, some of it is truth, some of it is a dream, but you know, we got to make it work out because I really want Tony to be there. But when he's not, I spoke to Matt DeVries, who has been with the band during the Industrialist tour before Tony came in, and you know, he's there if we need him, and a few other bass player guys I know too as well. You know, I love Tony. I've known him for, you know, 30 plus years. You know, we both started in the backyard scene bands together here in LA. The backyard scene was huge. You know, a lot of metal bands playing in the backyards because a lot of the clubs in Hollywood wasn't allowing that kind of grindcore and death metal stuff. So I've known Tony for like way back then, from when we both first started in different bands. And yeah, we started a project band called Assassino. We're hopefully going to get a record done this year. But ever since he's been back, you know, doing his band Static X, and now that I have control of Fear Factory, we've both been busy as fuck. You know what I mean? And it's a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But maybe, I don't know, maybe when we're out there on the road, you know, if Static X and Fear Factory are out there on the road, maybe we could, you know, do a handful of shows with Assassino, surprise guests or something.
See, that's what I want to see. As much as I would love to see Static X and Fear Factory tour, I want to see, for Fear Factory fans that don't know Assassino, get acquainted. That's what I love to say. And the Divine Heresy records just got an awesome vinyl re-release. Go pick those up, support, you know, M Theory, nice job on the vinyl there. Just for a quick last question, because I know we're pressed for time. I don't want to lose the opportunity to talk about Digimortal. Just had the 20, it's like hard to believe that it's over 20 years. But in the same way, it's still a huge record for Fear Factory. Linchpin is the #1 stream song from the band, as much as people, and I've repped the manufacturer forever and Obsolete forever, but Digimortal was very special in that very crowded time of the late 90s with Slipknot and System emerging, and here's Fear Factory, man. I just recently interviewed the guys from Puya who are on a comeback thing of their own with Sergio back in the band, and we were reminiscing about that tour, that Digimortal headline tour, and they talked glowingly about how you guys treated them and how inspirational it was to be with you. Latin guys, like, see you out there, and flags in the audience every night, Mexican flags,
Yep.
even though they're Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican flags.
And Puerto Rican flags, respect, much respect. So yeah, I just wanted to get you to quickly reflect on that and that special time.
Well, the record was definitely a great record for us. We, you know, got to work with Rhys Fulber on the record and Mike Plotnikoff, who mixed the album. It was probably one of the smoother records to make, believe it or not. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, making records can be stressful and very, you know, a lot of tension, you know, between the members and just producers and stuff like that. But that record was a much more smoother record to make. You know, there were some stuff that was really difficult. The label wanted us to use more commercial rock producers. And so they were sending in these producers into the studio when we were writing, and we were just kicking them out because we were like, nah, you know, this guy is like way too soft for us. He's got to go. I even had a long conversation with Bob Rock about producing the record.
Wow.
But it turned out he was actually scheduled to do the record at first. But it turned out that he ended up taking like a $2 million gig working with some other band. So it was like, so in hindsight, 2020, I was kind of like happy that it didn't work out, because who knows what that record would have sounded like. You know, it could have been great. It could have been a completely mega polished record. Who knows, right? So yeah, we ended up using Rhys Fulber and Mike Plotnikoff, guys that we know for years and years and years, to do the record, and that we had every confidence that we could accomplish something great with those guys, and we did. You know, we just brought different elements of the band at that time. It was definitely a sign of the time of just the climate of what was going on at that time. You know, you had, of course, like you said earlier, you had the emergence of Slipknot and a bunch of other bands, you know, System of a Down and stuff like that. But you know, we already had our own sound, and we just wanted to bring some different elements into the record. And I think it was killer. You know, I love songs like Acres of Skin, Damaged, you know, of course, Linchpin. So yeah, the record did fairly well, even though we got some of the backlash of one of the songs that Christian wrote, which was called Back the Fuck Up. You know, we definitely got a backlash on that because people heard that song and thought we were jumping on the new metal or the crossover between hip hop and metal, you know, bandwagon. And I kind of knew that because at first I didn't want it on the record. I was like, let's save it as a B-side and let's use one of the other B-sides on the record. But the record company, you know, I got outvoted. The record company wanted it on the record, and we got a little bit of backlash because of it. And I was able to call the record company, Monty Connor. I said, "See, I told you."
Nice.
But besides that, the record's killer. You know what I mean?
It is such a killer record. I'm gonna go put on Acres of Skin in a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go back and listen to Aggression Continuum. Dino Cazares, man, thank you for being you. Thank you for this album. Thank you for hanging out with Ghost Cold. I appreciate you so much, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you giving me the time to give me the platform to tell my story of this record. And also, if anybody wants to pre-order the album, they can still go to fearfactory.com for merch, CDs, cassettes, and vinyl.